See where the center is now crossed into southwest Georgia, and that purple box you see there, that's an extreme wind warning for those for residents of Miller, Seminole, Decatur, and Early counties. That's that extreme wind warning. Could be winds upwards of 110, perhaps even more miles per hour in that purple box there in those counties. That's until 6:30 this evening. Treat that warning as a tornado, which means head to your safe spot. Now is not the time in those counties to run outside and get video of it. Now is the time in those counties to head to the inner part of your home, away from windows, away from those outer walls, and head to a substantial structure. Don't let your guard down at all. If you're along and east of I-75, as those bands wrap around, we can actually loop this and talk about how those bands are wrapping around. So as those bands wrap around, Michael, yeah, those are moving fairly quickly, and they're moving into air that's not really being stabilized by anything. So could see, again, those isolated tornadoes develop. Mayhaw is expecting those 110-mile-per-hour winds. Steam Mill right now is actually in the eye. Things are very quiet right now in Steam Mill because that's the eye of that hurricane. But don't get fooled by the quietness you'll be experiencing. It's something we're watching very closely, but with the impacts from this, especially in our western counties, damaging wind and heavy rainfall are the two things we're most concerned about. We're moderately concerned about those two things. An isolated tornado or large hail, not out of the question, but highly unlikely. So, well, with 2018 now behind us, let's take a look at some of the stats and some of the extremes we saw in 2018 here in southwest Georgia. Starting off the year of 2018, January 3rd, we did have one snowstorm where we saw 0 to 2 inches. Most of that snowfall was east of the I-75 corridor, where some areas well east in Coffee, Atkinson County seeing up near 3 inches of snowfall. And January 17th, another snowstorm came through, not quite as impactful, with only 0 to 1 inches of snowfall across the area, but was still enough to give us a white start to the year of 2018. And also January 18th, 20 degrees was the coldest temperature we saw in 2018. Rain. We know December was a rainy month, but the entire year was also pretty rainy. 170 days total in 2018, with at least trace amounts of rainfall recorded at the Albany Airport. Total for the year was at 59, just over 59.5 inches of total precipitation. That includes the snowfall in January, and that is about 11 inches above average for the Albany Airport when it comes to precipitation for the year of 2018. We did have a 10-day streak where there was 10 days back-to-back of recorded precipitation. That was May 20th through May 29th. August was the rainiest month with just over 9.25 inches. Right behind that was December with just over 9 inches. September was the driest at 1/2 inch of precipitation in September. Also, Hurricane Michael, one of the most impactful storms of the season, of the year. 108 counties were under a state of emergency when Hurricane Michael came in. A peak wind gust was 115 miles per hour at Donaldsonville, and there was unfortunately one fatality in Seminole County when the hurricane was going through. So that's just a quick recap of what we saw in 28 minutes. But the Halloween forecast, if you're heading out trick-or-treating, here's what we can expect. Around 80 by 6 p.m., middle 70s by 8 p.m., and then by 10 p.m., temperatures then in the upper 60s by the time things are wrapping up there on your Halloween evening. So here's that regional temperature map. We see temperatures in Georgia in the 40s. Miami is the warm spot, you could say, in the upper 60s, but that cooler air is marching slowly but surely farther and farther south. We see Nashville, 34 degrees, Raleigh, 38 degrees, Asheville, North Carolina, at 33 degrees. So, yep, that cooler air is making its way toward us, and we'll definitely feel that colder air overnight tonight. Right now, temperatures already in the middle to upper 40s pretty much across the board. Of course, the closer you get to Miami, the warmer it's going to be. 47 degrees there in our southeastern counties. But overnight tonight, it's going to be chilly. So may want to throw an extra blanket on the bed, maybe turn the heat on after having the AC on for the last couple of weeks, because our future temperatures by 8 a.m. show temperatures near freezing. Lower to middle 30s waking up tomorrow morning, so can't rule out some patchy frost in a few locations either. And into the afternoon, still going to be a rather cool day. Temperatures in the lower to middle 50s for high temperatures tomorrow afternoon, so that's a bit below average for this time of year. And then the cold weather continues moving into Friday morning now. Temperatures again back in the lower to middle 30s for the second night in a row. So these next 2 nights will be cool, to say the least, even below average for this time of year, with those overnight lows in the 30s both, or in the lower 30s both of those nights. But the warm stretch that we had, that looks to be done. 11 of the last 13 days, of course, before today, were above 70 degrees. And that includes 81 degrees, a record set on January 1st. So it may have felt like it was nearly summer for quite a long time, and it was 13 days where temperatures were in the upper 60s or in the 70s, with 11 of those 13 days above 70 degrees. So here's our next weather maker. We see things are pretty quiet, high pressure still around for tomorrow. We will see clouds on the increase for Friday, and there's that low pressure system. That's going to bring some scattered showers possibly later in the day Saturday, and also some rainfall for the early morning hours on Sunday. But it looks like Sunday evening things should be clearing out as that system moves out of the way. And high pressure, you see, builds right back in for the start of next week. But temperatures, again, the 50s for Thursday and Friday. But then we're in the 60s for the weekend before we return to those near 60-degree temperatures early next week.